Okay. Hi, everyone. So I think we need to wait for a couple of minutes more and then let's start. So, can I see some likes? Anyone who has joined? Comments are off. Why? Because there are many people, those who comment for no reason, and it spoils the rhythm of interview. So, you can just like it in case you are in. Okay. All right. We need to wait for 5 minutes more. Okay. I apologize for the delay, but I think we're expecting more students to join. In case they want to, we'll wait for 5 minutes more. Okay, so I think we should start. I have my class right after half an hour. So whatever I can deliver, and anyone who is busy can see this later. Interview skills are very complex to handle. There are many ways to improve our interview skills. But let me define why interviews are conducted. A very basic question everyone has. Interviews are conducted not to check someone's English only. It is about that whether you are a worthy candidate or not, whether you have potential of delivering your talent to the organization or not. Interviews are conducted from small to big level. When I say small level, which means that you may find a job in aviation, or you may find a job as a telecaller, or you have been called upon, maybe that for customer service. So I would say skills differ. It depends what kind of skills you need to have and the kind of job you're applying to. I'll be starting with the pattern of interview. You see, the pattern of interview has changed over the period. There was a time when we had interviews where only cliche questions were asked. Okay, tell me something about yourself, where you would like to see yourself after 5 years down the line. These questions are still asked. However, cliche questions were there, right? Now, I think when you really want to succeed in any kind of interview, you need to prepare yourself holistically. It shouldn't be that you have crammed up some questions. and with the relevant answers, and maybe from any magazine, from any book of interview handling, and then you think that you are all set to go. I believe if you have this vision, you cannot crack any good interview. I think basic interview, let's say that telecaller, or maybe that a computer operator, I think that the session is not kept for that. I'm talking about the interviews where your abilities are tested to great extent. So let me start this way. Let me tell you a couple of things. Interviews are complex over the period. I just mentioned that gone is a time where cliche questions were asked. Now, you see, you must have noticed that many companies have introduced worsen test. When I say worsen test, which means that your reading, your writing, your speaking, your listening, everything is checked. You are given some grammar topics. You are observed before before you are called for any interview round. And then again, your reading skills are checked, your vocabulary is checked. So if you try to hit big companies, you must have noticed the pattern that they're very particular about completing all four rounds instead of just speaking pattern, the cliche basic speaking pattern. So there are many things to be taken into account. Let's start with this. Let me tell you the very first thing. When I mentioned this worsen test, which means that how you portray yourself, this matters. Let me tell you. Let me give my example. When I was preparing for my interview after completing my graduation, I'm talking about way back. Yes, so I was told that only 4 or 5 questions are asked, and your answers are not evaluated. I think it really worked for me. Why? Because expansion of companies and ideas, right, were not to great extent. But now you see, you need to be super talented when it comes to interview, and you need to prepare your answers very well. And for this reason, I always want all candidates to record their answers again and again. See, answers which you read in magazines, answers which you read in any of PDF given to you, referred by your friend, right, seems very plastic. These are not your words. Create your own words. When you create your own words, when you write a question, and then you write any answer to the best of your ability, and you really feel that answer while speaking, you need to feel the answer. Only then you are considered a genuine candidate. Interviewers are not silly, they are smart. They interview people many a time, so they know that what real potential a candidate has. So what are we going to cover in this particular webinar I've kept for you? So let me talk about the very first thing, basic questions and how to answer them. Basic questions have always been asked, right? They used to be asked in past, they're asked today, right? So these are basic questions. Let's talk about the basic question, right? Tell me something about yourself. A very typical basic question is very basic, but answer for this question could be as intelligent as you want, could be as effective as you want. So if you have cooked up your lines, if you have read somewhere, so you will always you will always be speaking very materialistically, that I belong to a nuclear family, I have loving parents, my father does this, my mother does this, my sister does this, my brother does this, and as far as I am concerned, I am very dedicated. I am very good at handling stress, because you have been told somewhere in cooked up answer that you need to mention these points. And every candidate does it. Why you will be chosen, right? So you need to understand that, please. I always say, plan your answers in your own way. Do not take it from any magazine. Do not take it from any PDF file. So, what I love doing it is just that when I form any answer, I see whether I feel that answer while speaking. Your words, your genuine words create magic. And you can make your answer as creative as you want, provided that you have given it a thought, you have given it a nice thought, and you have revised your answer nicely. Sometimes answers are beautiful. Since you haven't revised them, you fumble, you're not very clear with your vision, and the word selection you go for, right, the word selection becomes very poor. And for this reason, always before any kind of interview, write down 8 questions, try to answer them in your own words, and keep revising them. Keep revising them until you become very confident that yes, this is your script, and you feel it. Yes, so let me tell you some ways. And your interview should be as natural as possible. Knowledge is power. I always say any person who has great knowledge will deliver better answers for sure. And most of us just go for cooked up answer, and our room for knowledge is very narrow and very shallow, in fact. And then it really seems like that somebody has been trained, and then again the person is speaking in a more plastic manner and tone. So let's work upon questions now, right? Give me a minute. So let's say you have been asked a question that tell me something about yourself. So when I say tell me something about yourself, right, it is very clear that you will be answering what the old one I just discussed with you, the plastic answer. The natural answer, if you ask me, and I have prepared my answer, I know what I'm speaking, I know what my family is, I genuinely have, I've worked upon adjectives. Adjective means that the qualities I am going to define, I know these qualities indeed belong to me. I haven't downloaded these qualities, I haven't mugged up these qualities. So I'll be starting in such a way that fortunately, I belong to a family which has always been very supportive. I'll be starting with my father, who's not only handsome but equally successful in his field. And I have inherited this quality of being dynamic from him first, right? And then I will not say that my father's name is this, my father does this, right? So I think I have my own pace of answering, right? And when it comes to my mother, I would say that, my mother, I would say that more is less in her praise. She is not only a homemaker, she is a great soul of all family members. Without her, family seems to be incomplete. She is a teacher by profession. So that is my way of presenting my family. And I will not stick to any cliche pattern. You have your way. You have your way of presenting your ideas. See why I am able to speak today, because I'm somewhere I have revised my answers. I have felt very comfortable with my own speech. I haven't cooked up. I have built up this knowledge of answering or presenting my ideas. So this you really need to work upon, that present your ideas, right? Always have this consideration that I am right. I don't have to be somebody else. I don't have to be a great speaker like my friend. My answers need to be very original, and the more natural you are, the better you are when it comes to interview. Okay, the second thing, I would like to say that since I mentioned it is a proficiency test, it is a proficiency test. Your proficiency is tested. Proficiency of what? Your command over English? Yes, it does, because if you are asked for an interview in such a field that where great communication skills are required, for sure your English will be tested. So no cooked up answer will work for you. You really need to be good at your skills. And skills, don't mean that you are just learning heavy words. No, skills mean how you present your ideas, how you use relevant words, what knowledge you possess about the company you are going to give interview in. I've seen many a time that basic question is asked that why we should hire, a very basic question, why we should hire you. Many students, many candidates, they answer in such a way that since I'm very dedicated, I love stress, and I think I can work under any circumstance, and this makes me unique, and I think that I am a better candidate than anybody else, and I'm very firm about saying it. Okay, right. Grammatically, your answer was absolutely good, but it's not about only English words. It's about how you deliver. So, first of all, you don't have to shrug off. A lot of candidates shrug off. Please don't do that. I never suggest. You need to be very calm and composed while answering. And each line of yours should take you towards humbleness, towards, like you are not a high headed candidate, you are docile, you can easily be controlled. At the same time, you are very docile and you are very skillful. You're very skillful, so your adjectives need to be presented in such a way that you sound skillful. I think interview it's more of a culture. It's not a test of only English, it's more of a culture. So I think if you ask me this question, see, it depends. Let me give an example. So I had this candidate who was preparing for cabin crew. Last month he came to us, and he had some questions, and we tried to help him. So he asked a question, ma'am. If this question is asked to me, how would I answer that? Why they should hire me, right? And so I said, you answer, and the person answered in the same way, the way I discussed with you. Ideally, what I feel the answer could have been something different. That it's a very complex question to answer why I should be hired. I would like to say everybody is as good as I am. Every person is skillful. However, I believe that what makes me fit for this industry is my passion for traveling. Since my childhood, I am more inclined towards traveling. And I would say that I'm very good at customer service. I have always loved to talk to people. My PR skills have always been appreciated. I remember my mom told me once in my childhood that I'm cut out for this field. And this really came true when I started discovering myself that which profession suits me. And I won't say that I love this profession only for the sake of glamour. I want to know about different places. And in order to expand my knowledge, no other field could have been better than this. So you see, this is what you call answer you have felt and you have spoken the same answer, right? So it's nowhere something that I'm dedicated, I can handle stress, I'm very good at that. You give me a job, I'll do it in 2 minutes. So sometimes when I read blogs and when I read somewhere I read that how interviews are prepared, I really feel flabbergasted that how candidates are being prepared. This is absolutely a wrong way of presenting yourself, right? So this is something you really need to understand. That again, I mentioned in the beginning that gone is a time where cliche, pattern was followed, right? Okay. Now, what else I want to talk? I would like to talk about more things, right? So I've discussed two questions, right? Tell me something about yourself, and tell me something about yourself. I think I should go back to this question and let me tell you something. So when this question is asked, that tell me something about yourself, right? Do you know yourself? Do you indeed know yourself? If you don't know, then try to know yourself first. Try to know who you are. And first, in case you don't know, right, the words, the heavy words I am using for myself, and I don't, fit there. For an example, that somebody was telling me, I am very philanthropist in my approach. Are you a really philanthropist person, right? Are you, means do you even know the meaning of this word? Sometimes students love to cram heavy words, heavy adjectives in order to define themselves. I really find it a very fake approach. Don't do that. A better way will be that note down somewhere 5 to 7 adjectives, and make sure that these adjectives are the real mirror of your character. This is who you are. So if you ask me, I would say that 5 qualities I know about myself are: the first one is I'm very self driven, I am a problem solver, and I will try to explain each quality of mine, right? So just saying that you are self driven doesn't explain that who you are. So when I mention that I'm self driven, I've learned this in my life that you need to learn everything on your own. So if you try to take support of others, you will learn very slow in life. And I don't want to be a slow learner. For that reason, I find myself self-driven. So you see, I've used the adjective, but at the same time, I felt that why I call myself a self-driven person. Let's say that my adjective could be I am a go-getter. Let's say go-getter is a person who loves to achieve everything. Indeed, I feel that I'm a sort of candidate who can just say that this way, right? So I'll say I'm a go-getter, and I've never given up things in my life. I've handled stress, I've taken responsibilities very seriously, and I do not take a sigh of relief until challenge given to me is done or is completed. So this again makes me a very unique candidate, because I haven't made my speech very fabricated, very what do you say, crammed. I think I'm a go-getter, and for this reason, I have chosen this adjective. So when you are asked a question, tell me something about yourself, you may take adjectives from somewhere. If you want, Google it, and you can you can send us some questions, and we have some format we can share. But again, same thing, yeah, you are you, right? So any adjective you use, make sure you should know the art of explaining it. Until you know the art of explaining your adjectives, the talent you have, then the words you have spoken will go in vain. They will be of no use at all. I hope this is very clear, whatever I've just delivered. All right. So, what next I'm going to talk about? So, there are more questions to be asked in interview, right? That so I have answered this question: why we should hire you? Tell me something about yourself. Oh yes, I shouldn't forget mentioning this. So you know what? When I gave my interview in Pfizer, I'm talking about 15 years back, 10 years back, 15 years back, somewhere, right? So I was asked a question, and because I did my homework very well, I wanted to go for any scripted answer. And what did I do? I read somewhere that if this question is asked, that where you want to see yourself after 5 years down the line, so you need to sound that you're very confident, and you say that I want to see myself that where you are today. And I think that time I thought, fine, it was good to go answer. And today, when I recall, right after that, when I came of my age, I tried to understand what interview handling. When I joined this profession, when I started guiding people, then I got to know. See, you cannot play with someone's ego, right? A person who's taking your interview, if you try to keep abreast of that person's talent, you will never be able to clear interview. Let me tell you why. Because it's not about English. Interview is not about English. Interview is all about how you handle ego and how you have a humble approach towards life, right? So I think I made a mistake by answering this, and never answer this. I want to see myself, maybe somewhere that nobody has reached. I am very dedicated, and very soon I will become a manager. Maybe a manager is taking your interview. Very soon I will become an HR. Very soon I will join top management. You see, I'm using the phrase very soon I will. So this sounds, what do you say, that very egoistic. Your English is okay. Your English is fine. It's the attitude. You need to work upon the attitude. I think the same thing, you can say in a more humble tone, and you should be very manipulative. You should know how to play with words, and this comes with course of time. And okay, let me reframe this answer. So if this question is asked that where you want to see yourself after 5 years down the line, I would say that I do not build castle in the air. I have always tested my ability. I believe in short term goals. The very first thing that I aspire for myself is to be a part of any middle management, to be a part of any frontline management where I dream to lead a team. I think I possess these abilities. If don't, I will work upon them. But as I mentioned, I do not build castle in the air. I would certainly work upon the qualities I have, and let's see where my luck and talent take me ahead. So you see this answer. This answer, says somewhere that you are not an egoistic person. You are a very realistic speaker. And the other thing is that you know how to answer. They check your maturity. They check. See, you see a lot of candidates are there, right? Where you go for interview. So why you will be chosen? Always ask one question in your mind: that why will I be chosen? Why not anybody else? You will not be only chosen just because of the good communication skills you have. Yes, this plays a crucial role for sure. It goes without saying. However, there are more things you have to take care of. So I think I serve the purpose. Now let's talk about attire. You need to give me a minute. So you need to think about attire etiquettes. Let's talk about. A lot of students ask me, ma'am, how to look in our interview, and how we need to dress up, right? So I think it's a very basic question to be asked. Um, Students compliment me. When they compliment me that I have a perfect level of appearance when it comes to interview, and when it comes to I think I take care of that. How do I look? How beautiful I look, I do not take care of that. But I certainly take care of whether do I look like the way my profession demands me. Yes, it is indeed needed. So a couple of things I would like to talk about again. First, you should not be overdressed. when I say overdress, who am I to comment on your dress? No, no. I think that you should, you should get ready the way you like. But at the same time, you see, you are going for an interview. You need to look very formal, yes, but you shouldn't look very extravagant, right? So when I say very extravagant, which means that, I still remember that there was a girl. She was wearing a diamond ring, two diamond rings, and then again she went for an interview in Genpact. And she came to me and she said, "Ma'am, I was rejected twice. Would you please tell me the reason?" I made it very clear. She looked very pretty, everything, very beautiful, and I think very presentable, right? The only problem was that she was looking very extravagant. So when you look very extravagant, when you look over classy, when you take care of expensive bags, and I'm talking about women, now let's talk about men, right? We all do shopping when we have interview, and we really feel like that, we should dress up all good, and we try to wear branded clothes and shoes, everything, right? So do everything, right? But you see, there is always a thing. Uh, Acting is which doesn't look like acting, right? So real acting, you wear, right, branded clothes, everything, but just keep one thing in mind, that you should not look extravagant. You should not look more handsome than the interviewer, right? You shouldn't look more extravagant than the person who's taking your interview. This may hurt ego. This is non-verbal attitude. It's not verbal attitude, it's non-verbal attitude. So you need to take care of that, that how do you look, how do you sit, right? And you need to be a dark horse. I always use this term, dark horse. A person who seems very humble, a person who seems very down to earth, but once you begin to speak, right, people appreciate your knowledge, and word by word, line by line, you are being appreciated. So when it comes to attire, you really need to take care of that. You shouldn't be overdressed, but at the same time, you shouldn't look shabby. When I say shabby, then again, I would talk about a couple of things, right? You shouldn't perspire, you shouldn't sweat out a lot first. And many people, when they speak, right, they give extra stress to the intonation part, and when they speak, at times they spit, and the spit, they don't realize that they do it, and it's a very regular voice modulation. I always say that. Let me tell you that most of us do that, because if you have to speak for 15 minutes continuously, you need to have good breath control. Why? Because these are the things nobody would ever tell you. Let me tell you that I am not taking it as a webinar. I'm just talking to you. I'm just telling you that how to look more confident, and this could be one of the non-verbal traits you must possess. No, and apart from that, right, no expensive perfumes, please, right? A person who's taking your interview really feels that, okay, yes, which brand are you using, and then again, why you need a job, right? So then ego comes in between. And your nails should be very clean, right? Because when you talk, they are visible. So for women, I think that no plastic nails and something like that, don't do that. But your nails should be well polished, right? And for men, I think that they should be duly cut and trimmed, yes. And more things I would like to talk about. I think I really feel how see, as long as you carry yourself, as long as you handle what you wear, I think that everything suits you. Everything suits you, right? You should know that how to carry. But I've seen, when you do shopping for your interview, when you wear expensive clothes and you feel like, I really need to look best, ideally it should be, never buy anything a day before your interview. This I'm talking you as a friend, right? Why? Because your clothes take time to feel comfortable. So it has been noticed that when you wear something, and the same day, you feel very nervous with your own attire. I don't know, that you keep tucking in, and then again you keep adjusting, and maybe that the color combination you did not like, and which means ultimately you do not feel comfortable with your own body posture, your clothes, and this leads to a little failure in speaking words. So why? Because non-verbal and verbal skills both, they interrelate, they are interconnected. So if you don't feel comfortable, whatever you're wearing somewhere, it affects your speaking. And for this reason, although I don't give much attention to clothing and everything, yet there are certain things a candidate should keep in mind. Yes, so this was about attire. And then I will talk about the last point I would like to cover would be voice modulation. voice modulation. You see, some candidates are selected in one go, right? They don't prepare their answers, right? And they are very cool speakers, right? Cool speakers doesn't mean that ill mannered speakers, right? When I say cool speakers, I would like to describe this term. What does it mean? When it comes to answering, right? uh, Most of us really feel like that breaks are not allowed, right? You must have noticed when some people speak, let's say when Amitabh Bachchan speaks, right, his voice carries weight. He drags everyone's attention, and whether he is advertising anything or he is delivering a common message, a simple message to the audience, I think that we all love to listen what he says. It is not only about the position he has, it is somewhere about how he speaks. And I really admire Shah Rukh Khan, I really admire Amitabh Bachchan, I really admire Palaki Upadhyay, right? Gravitas, she represents Gravitas, one of the news channels. So you see, these speakers know what to speak, how much to speak, and where to give a break. For an example, if you ask me a question that tell me something about yourself, coming back to the question, right? Tell me something about yourself and where you. So I answer something like that. I think I want to do a lot of I. I'm not saying I. I want to do want to. So you see, I want to. This is flat. This is what you call no. This is, there is a term, articulation. So articulation means that the way you present yourself, right? So when I want to speak something like that, well, you have asked me this question, it's always good to know ourselves, right? So you see the charm and the pace I've taken for myself. Why? Because I want to feel comfortable with my own words, and I don't want to sound like an idiot. Yes, I don't want to. And for that reason, I really want to revise my lines. And there's I. It's I want to. It's not want to. It's want to. Voice clarity, voice modulation, voice clarity. And when you pronounce words, you must have noticed that you must have listened to a lot of candidates. When they speak, more than half of the words are eaten. Yes, right. So half of the speech is clear and rest half is as if they had to catch any train, or they are not very clear, what do you say, that with their own words, right? So you see, you need to maintain voice clarity. It plays an important role when it comes to interview, right? Each word of yours should be very clear. So well should sound like well, it's not well I want to. There is no break between well and I. Well, I would like to say, well, I would like to say that. So I think my gliding sound, I call it gliding sound. When you have gliding sound, which means that you feel very comfortable. Voice modulation can be taken as pronunciation practice. If you ask me, ma'am, how much pronunciation practice is important before any kind of interview, I would say yes, a lot. Why? Because you have to, there are 100 candidates, there are 50 candidates, right? The only thing matters is that how you convince others, how you hold persuasive skills, that yes, when you deliver your answer, you have the most effective way of presenting. And this most effective way comes from your voice modulation. The voice carries weight, so I think heavy voices are used for dubbing, and very sometimes very husky voice and something like that. Why? Because I think the style is needed to attract everyone's attention. So you must check when you stand in front of the mirror, and when you and I always suggest candidates before any kind of interview, see how you look, how you speak. When you speak, right, do you make good eye contact? When it comes to interview, I've seen candidates, they talk like this, they talk like this, and then they deliver answer, because somewhere they must have crammed answers. And if they make eye contact, they will forget what they learned and what they crammed. So like these flaws, these weaknesses are seen through nicely, yes, by the interviewer. They are not mad. They know, they have interviewed a lot of people, so they know your genuine skills. So I would use one more term, constructive interview. Try to be a part of constructive interview. Constructive interview means where you are speaking less negative, more positive. right? So if you now you have entered the age where anything and everything can be asked. So let's say that you have been asked, speak on a topic which you like, and you start speaking on politics, or maybe you have been given a topic that speak a few lines on politics, and you start answering. And since you don't like politics, and you will start giving sarcasms, right? And you start you have started becoming very nasty in your comments, and say that, oh, when it comes to politics, I think politics is not my cup of tea. It is very negative, and I don't know. I never voted in my life, and politics is a dirty game. I never want to be a part of it, and something like that. You see, your answer was very negative. Your opinion has been asked, but at the same time, you need to keep your opinion very neutral. First, how about the idea that interviewer, right, who's taking your interview, he likes politics a lot. So maybe that it may create a negative impact, right? Second, why to criticize? You have been asked a question to deliver your answer, and your answer should be very objective, not subjective. Don't feel it to a great extent, and don't show your bitterness, right? So keep your answers very neutral, and say that politics is a crucial part. And when it comes to world politics, I would say it's very manipulative. Don't say dirty, use the word it's very manipulative. Yes. If you ask my opinion about politics, I would prefer not to be a part of it, as I do not find myself fit for it, something like that. And then you can talk about world politics, then you can talk about voting system, then you can talk about anything you feel like. But make sure that you don't speak negative lines. You don't speak negative lines. So keep your interview very constructive. Okay. One more thing. So when it comes to interview, uh, you know, the only thing you have in your mind is, before any kind of interview, before you're called, in a room, and you think whether I'll be able to clear this interview or not. What if I fail? What if I'm not able to do that? And this question is also asked in interview. What if you're not selected today? How would you react to it, right? So I think this nervousness, right? 5 minutes nervousness, and maybe that that where you really feel you'll be going, and you will be evaluating yourself first, and then you will allow interviewer to evaluate you, spoils, ruins your interview completely. Why to evaluate ourselves, right? You have been given an opportunity to be a part of any interview. You ultimately, you need to deliver what you feel, whether you are selected or not, irrespective of the idea. You are selected, you are you. And this is not the what I say, that this interview doesn't decide how much talent you possess. So if you have this approach, and you have this king style approach towards life, that okay, let me go, let me give my viewpoint. I am not giving interview that I will certainly be selected. I am going for an interview because I want to test my ability. I'm telling you, this will ignite a kind of unique talent in you, and this self assertiveness, that you are a strong candidate, and you love your words. I always say, as far as your interview goes, enjoy your words, love your words. When you love your words, I think you look very confident, you sound very confident. In my lifetime, it's been almost 15 years I have been in this field, 15 to 20 years, I would say that. And I think that there was never a time where I cooked up my answers. There was never a time that I gave up the idea that I'm not capable of giving interview. And I took care of everything. Any company I tried, working in, and I tried to give interview for, I I did it very, I would say that I was a diligent, candidate. Why I can call myself a diligent candidate? Let me tell you, I did good homework on the company, and I just wanted to know that how that company grew. And if I'm asked a question that, okay, why we should hire you, I think I'll be starting my answer by mentioning that how much I know about the company, and how company needs me. It's not that the qualities I possess. So if I do not sound like an asset, that yes, I will be beneficial for the company, why the company will hire me? The company will not hire me. So it's not about blowing your own trumpet. It is not about praising yourself. It is about doing good homework, what company demands from you. And I think I have always been very mature, knowing the needs of the company, the role, the profile, I was hired for. And so I think that I always uh, I always kept myself informed that what I wanted to talk, what I wanted to deliver. And thankfully, in my lifetime, there were only two interviews where I was rejected for two reasons. One, I was looking very extravagant, and Rohit, he was the person from Genpact, right? Yes. And when I had to lead a team, he told me that, Geeta, you are a perfect candidate, but everybody will feel very insecure. Why? Because the kind of appearance you have, you look very extravagant. It seems like you don't need a job at all. So I took that feedback very seriously. I'm talking about 15 years back, and then again, this really made me feel that yes, sometimes it is not about English; it is about handling someone's ego and maintaining humble tone. And whatever success I've got in life, be it interview and here also, right, at center, when I'm training people now, I think that it's not about you. It's not always about you. It's about people you are dealing with. It's about what are their needs. So if you try to prove your point less, and if you get to hear what the other person is speaking and try to cater the need of the other person, then you become a constructive speaker and have this approach. And once you build up this attitude, I think that this really helps you to crack any sort of interview. So I know I so wanted you to comment, and I wanted you to get some replies from me. But you know what, there are some absurd people, and when they comment, and they can comment anything, and I this ruins my level of peace. Right? So why I'm mentioning that, I really want to tell, if you have any question with regard to interview, you want to get a list of important questions, if you really want to ask us that, okay, yes, this is a question which bothers me, if you really want to know how should I look like, you can send your DP to us, and you can, anything, any assistance you want, we're always there to help. And you have our number, our WhatsApp number, just WhatsApp us for any kind of need, and we will try to live up to your expectations. Before I call off, I would like to mention one more important thing. English has no end, vocabulary has no end. But when you speak, right, sometimes students, what they do, that when they have pressure of cracking any interview, they want to go for crash course. They want to go for any, a week time training, or maybe 15 days training. This training is of no use. See, you don't know when are you going to appear for the interview. This is one thing that you should do beforehand. Beforehand means that right after completing your high school or your graduation, this one skill I want everyone to inculcate. You never know when you will be called for any kind of interview, and when you start your preparation then and there only, then the effect is very less. This is something you should take as linguistic skills, and this requires prior preparation, not any sort of preparation just a week before your interview. So I think that everybody should learn these skills. I have done in my life, and this has really helped me. If you really want us to help you, we are just a call away. And I'm sure the session was useful. I can see some likes, and would really appreciate if I have some more likes. This will boost my morale, and I'll be helping you this way. I enjoyed my session. I hope you felt the same. Have a great day ahead, everyone.